Hi, I'm Fran Drescher, and all of us at cancerSchmancer are so excited to bring you our Health and Wellness Masterclass, absolutely free. Do you ever wonder why you get sick, what causes cancer, and how you can reduce you and your family's risk? Well, we've put a lot of time, energy, and passion into bringing you the most cutting-edge information from amazing doctors who think outside of the box, leaders in health and wellness with a fresh perspective on what we can do for ourselves, options to consider when diagnosed, and new strategies to not only survive, but thrive. I have made improving our health my life's mission because I am a cancer survivor, but it took me 2 years and 8 doctors to get a proper diagnosis. Thank goodness I had a slow-growing cancer, or my outcome might not have been so good. Now I have turned my pain into purpose, so I'm committed to sharing everything I've learned with you, all the brilliant doctors and scientists I have met over my nearly 2 decades of survival. That's why I'm bringing you this master class so you won't have to go through what I did. Watching this free health and wellness masterclass, I hope you will feel more empowered and less helpless and walk away with a game plan. With 1 in 2 men and 1 in 3 women expected to get cancer, babies being born pre-polluted with 200 to 300 chemicals found in the umbilical cord, and kids predicted to not live as long as their parents for the first time in U.S. history, the time is now to take control of your body. I'm thrilled you're here, and I know it will make a difference. Now grab a pen and notepad, because we're about to blow your mind. Thank you so much for being a part of our journey of wellness. Now, in staying with this kind of theme of how toxins are impacting our health, I want to introduce you to a rheumatologist and integrative medicine expert who is just extremely well-versed in talking to you about a myriad of subjects that we need to be concerned about immediately, from the water we drink, to electrosmog, to the toxins in the food and the products that we use, to, most important, and listen to this closely, the difference between how children absorb all this stuff and how adults do. Because for young ones, it's extremely dangerous how fast and how quickly they start absorbing, and it starts building up in their little bodies. So without further ado, please welcome Dr. Ailey Cohn. Thank you so much. Thank you. You like this? Oops.
Oh, I like it. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Fine. I have a lot of things to juggle here. So
all right. Okay. All right. Have fun with the gang.
Okay, great. So let's put up the first slide. Let's see. Oh, back. There we go. Okay, so this is the first slide. So first, I want to thank you very much for having me here, Fran.
You're not loud enough. Are you turned on?
Hello.
Oh, that's good.
Thank you so much for having me here, Fran. This is a wonderful opportunity and a really great platform to get a lot of information to you in 15 minutes, which is very unusual for my typical presentations. But I'm going to rock and roll. I hope you'll take notes. So let's get started. So is this how most of you feel? I'm not sure if I'm the only one that feels this way. My kids have to come down in hazmat suits to go to school. We're kind of inundated on a daily basis with chemicals, everything from flame retardant chemicals, food packaging, food additives we've heard about, cosmetic chemicals, cleaning chemical ingredients, right? They're chemicals that are infused into our fabrics to make them non-stick, right, to have no stains. They're even in the chairs and the furniture that we use. This is marketed very well. Basically, all of these chemicals that we are in and around all the time, we love this stuff. These chemicals are in the stuff we love, right? We don't want to give this stuff up, right? But let me give you some information, some statistics, okay? Right now in the US, there are over 87,000 chemicals available for commercial use in this country, okay? Most of which have not been tested for reproductive or any type of toxicity. There are 42 million pounds of synthetic chemicals that are imported into the US every year. Each year, 1,000 new chemicals are put into use. 15 new polymers are patented in the US every week. And only 5 chemicals have ever been banned under the Toxic Substance Control Act of 1976, which was the Ford administration. Europe has gotten rid of over 1,100 chemicals, okay? In this country, only 5. So I want you to think about the previous speakers in the idea that we have been evolving for over 2.5 million years. And all of these chemicals, almost about 200, all these 87,000 chemicals have been only in our lives for the last 200 years. So think about our evolution and think about how recent all of these chemicals. This is a lot of change for the human body. So, slide. Okay, back. Okay, here we go. So, what we do now know is that whether or not we develop illness from all of these chemicals, right? It's an intricate dance between our genetics, our lifestyle, and our environment, okay? Whether or not we ourselves develop any kind of illness. And the majority of chemicals that we're actually sitting and eating and breathing actually don't really cause us any immediate issue, right? We don't get rashes, we don't get any immediate health effects. So these are very indolent chemicals that are in our lives. But let me give you some more facts just to make your day happier. So in terms of health effects, they're on the rise. Infertility has increased over the past 20 to 40 years. In fact, 20 to 40% of US males and European males have decreased quality in their sperm and quantity of their sperm. Male infant genitalia malformations has increased. Testicular cancer has increased over 400% over the past 30 years. Preterm and low birth weight babies has increased worldwide. Earlier onset of breast development and female puberty has increased wherever this has been studied. Global rates of endocrine cancers, which include uterine, breast, prostate, testicular, and even thyroid cancer, which is a particular interest of mine since I teach high school students and I'm writing curriculum to get this into high schools nationally. Obesity and type 2 diabetes has skyrocketed, as we all know. So it's important to understand that these epidemiologic changes have occurred at such a rapid rate that they cannot be explained by random genetic mutations alone. So something else is going on, okay? And what do these health issues have in common? Well, many of these stem from the abnormal workings of the human endocrine system. So the endocrine system is an exquisitely delicate system in the human body, and it's a balanced system of glands and hormones. We're talking parts per million, parts per trillion in dosing that affect huge numbers of biological events. And the endocrine system manages everything from growth and development, fertility, metabolism, insulin use and production, fertility and breastfeeding, and even bone metabolism amongst its many, many biological functions.
Hi, isn't this great? I'm enjoying it and I can't wait to go back and watch more. But I just wanted to take a moment to tell you that you can purchase all of these wonderful speakers as a downloadable purchase that, by the way, is a tax-deductible donation to cancerSchmancer. You can have all these wonderful speakers at your fingertips whenever you want for reference, or share it with your friends and family. So if you click below, you can make a downloadable purchase, tax deductible for cancerSchmancer donation, and enjoy it whenever you want. Thank you so much for subscribing, and now let's get back to more wonderful illuminating speakers.
And it turns out that many of the chemicals in our environment, everything from food additives to triclosan, to some of the cleaning products that we use, to pesticides, have been found to basically mimic the normal workings, the normal hormones in the human body at very low levels. And these are actually now classified scientifically, these chemicals, as endocrine disrupting chemicals, or EDCs. Okay? Now, it's also critical to understand that it's not just what we're exposed to, it's actually when we're exposed to these chemicals, these critical windows of development. And this is something that traditional toxicology has not paid attention to. This is not part of traditional toxicologic study or education. And so what we have is, from a prenatal period all the way through menopause, we have rapid growth periods and periods where we have surging hormonal signaling and changes, okay? So take, for instance, the prenatal period. With all of the miraculous things that we now know that the human body can do, we know that the placenta does not act as a barrier to many of these environmental chemicals. In fact, in 2005, many people might know this study, in 2005, Environmental Working Group tested the cord blood, the umbilical cord blood of 10 random babies and found over 286 chemicals in the cord blood of newborns, okay? And so it's really important. I thought this was the most profound quote I'd seen in all the research that I had done. This was from the University of California, Davis, and they do a tremendous amount of work on environmental exposures in children. Neurons are being formed at a rate of 250,000 per minute on average over the course of a pregnancy, and that's a lot of opportunity for things to go awry. So what we also know now is that some of these EDCs, these endocrine disrupting chemicals, can have what's called transgenerational effects, which means you have an exposure and there's DNA changes or mutations, and those mutations are actually carried out through successive generations that were not exposed, okay? There's human and animal studies showing this. And it should be really clear to understand that when a pregnant woman is exposed to something, 3 generations are exposed at the same time. The mother, the fetus, and the fetal germ cells, which are actually the fetal reproductive, the reproductive cells of the fetus that actually grow in utero. And so that's the prenatal exposure. What I would suggest is we think about also the childhood exposure. So children are uniquely vulnerable in many ways, right? Pound for pound, they have greater exposure. They're just smaller, right? They're smaller and they're just rounder. They're close to the ground. So they actually pick up a lot of the dust, which we'll talk about a little bit later, in terms of the chemicals that fall from all of our everyday products onto the floor. They pick up dust, as do our pets, for instance. They have a lot of hand-to-mouth behavior. I mean, my kids ate everything. They ate the dog food. So they pick up everything, they chew on everything, and so you really have to watch what they put into their mouths. They also lack a variety in their diet, and it's true that diet, a good diet, which a lot of kids don't get, can actually be protective from the harm of these environmental chemicals. They have immature metabolism, so they cannot break down some of these chemicals as well as adults because they haven't had the mature metabolism. And they're continuously developing, and they have more future years of life. So from an accumulative effect, they're adding up their exposure risk basically from a very young age, okay? Okay, now as an adult, what we need to think about, of course, is environment, but I wanted to use breast cancer as an example. We've talked a little bit about today. What we now know is that around 10% of breast cancers are attributed to genetic mutations, even heritable genetic mutations through genetic lines. But about 90% of breast cancers actually have been indicated to be caused by environmental exposures. And as you can see on the left, we have some known risks, which include solvents, benzenes, air pollutants like PAHs, and pesticides. But we also see on the right side that there are endocrine disrupting chemicals under suspected risk. And you can see some of the chemicals we've even talked about today are part of that suspected risk, okay? So the question's going to be, and let's turn it to a more positive note, shall we? What can we all do about it, okay? I think we want to leave here with empowerment. We want to think about what we're going to actually do to make a difference in ourselves and our families, okay? The number one thing I say to people is think about your body and survey your body, what it comes into contact on a daily basis from wake up to going to bed on a regular basis, and Also, your environment. Survey your environment. What's in your home? And I know Fran talks a lot about this. What's in your home that you can actually remove or not even bring into your home? Okay? Think about the air we breathe, all of the stuff we plug in, the incense, the synthetic candles, the fake powders that we put on our carpeting. Think about the laundry detergent with that wonderful smell. Anything with the word fragrance, for instance, or perfume in it, whether it's your shampoo or your conditioners or anything that you use, the word fragrance or perfume in this country is a proprietary combination of ingredients that we as the consumer are actually not allowed to know. It protects the manufacturer, the laws in this country. So whenever you see the word perfume or fragrance, avoid it. Don't buy it. Don't bring it into your home. Okay? And also, think about looking at your skin. That's the air. Let's talk about our skin. Think about what we put on our skin. Try to vet out those products, 12 on average for women in terms of personal care products. Think about those products that you use. Vet them out safely. I'm going to give you a resource.
I'm so glad that we're watching the Fran Drescher Masterclass Health Summit together. Thank you so much for subscribing. Isn't it great? I can't wait to go back and watch more. But I just wanted to tell you that on October 23rd, we are going to be doing the Fran Drescher Masterclass Health Summit 2018. And it's going to be more exciting and better than ever. You can click below or go to cancerSchmancer.org and get your tickets or watch us live streaming for free on October 23rd. But if you come in person, you'll get to meet me and some of these wonderful doctors that I promise you will rock your world.
Now, let's talk a little bit about diet in this time period that we have. We have a lot to think about when it comes to contaminants in our food. Everything from what we cook, right, organic, natural, with a lot of choices, to how we clean it, how we cook it, non-stick, plastic utensils, to how we even store our food, whether it's plastics, whether it's stainless steel, saran wrap, Tetra Paks, I can go on and on and on. So lots of areas where we can intervene if we have the right information, right? But it's important to know, in terms of what's going on right now, is that in the US, 75% of basically the Western diet consists of processed food, okay? And every year, about 8 to 10 pounds of food additives are consumed by each and every American. Maybe not us, let's hope. But the idea being everything from food coloring to preservatives to even chemicals that create mouthfeel, like a crunch. Those are chemicals that are added to make you enjoy that crunch. And keep in mind, in 1978, there were only 35 commonly used food additives, okay? Now there are over 10,000, all right? It's a $25 billion industry, and there's even 30 phthalates, which are used in plastics that are used and allowable for food in this country, okay? So I also want us to think about my passion, which is drinking water, which we take unbelievably for granted in this country, and we never even think about it, and yet we worry about all sorts of other minutiae. But I want you to hear a little bit about water in this country, okay? So there's lots to think about again. Should you drink municipal tap water, city water, well water, bottled water? Should you filter it or not? Which kinds of filters? There's so many. How to carry it, stainless steel, glass, blah, 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 BPA, BPA-free, all that stuff, okay? You should keep in mind that the water that you drink often has contaminants that you cannot see, taste, or smell. And I do an experiment with high school students on this. Anything could be in your water, and I'll tell you why in a minute. Fertilizers and pesticides, heavy metals such as lead, we know about Michigan, non-stick chemicals, prescription medications that get washed down the toilet from all of the folks on meds can end up in your drinking water through the treatment plant system because they're not washed out. Personal care ingredients, flame retardant chemicals, radionuclides like radon. Viruses and bacteria, especially after floods and natural disasters, can affect wells particularly. And as I mentioned, the treatment system, this water treatment system, does not protect us, okay? So we want to really think about the fact that only 91 chemicals are actually regulated through this government under the Safe Drinking Water Act of 1974. And in terms of radiation, let me get you to the next. Actually, I missed a couple things. Create a water system in your home, okay? Filter it, learn about filters, figure it out, get your water from home and take it to work. Take it out, put it in glass, put it in stainless steel. Plastic water bottles, a lot of people have them. BPA-free means nothing. They substitute BPF, BPFB, BPSIP, and many other chemicals because it's like whack-a-mole. They create new compounds after other ones are taken away. So we want to stick with types of materials that don't break down over time, okay? So create a water system, take it from home, avoid plastic bottles. It's a whole other topic for another time. But we really want to create a system for our families. It's the best way you can control what you put into your body. Okay, quickly, really quickly. Cell phones, other wireless radiation, okay? There are over 8 billion cell phones in this country and around the world. Over 24 U.S. and international governing bodies, along with major medical organizations such as the American Academy of Pediatrics, and thousands of doctors recommend reducing cellular technology and Wi-Fi use, okay? Because of health risks. Even the 2011 World Health Organization classified cell phone radiation as a Class B, 2B possible carcinogen. And other health effects include infertility, affecting ovaries and sperm, as well as brain tumors, benign and cancerous, gliomas, acoustic neuromas, and even schwannomas around the heart. But we also have issues with sleep disturbance, headaches, anxiety, worsening of ADHD in children, poor concentration, okay? And kids are especially at risk for radiation. I mentioned chemicals, but also radiation, because they're still developing, okay? Their skulls are thinner, smaller, and have more bone marrow. Their brains have more water content and less myelin, so the signals actually travel deeper into their brains to deeper structures. Okay, so you can see this image. This is a great study. A child's brain and skull can absorb up to 10 times more invisible radiation than an adult. Okay, very important. And so here are some really reasonable, safe Wi-Fi recommendations, okay? Because I love my phone, right? We all love our phones. We love our stuff. But we can do all this stuff safely, and I like to teach that, okay? So you want to get all these down. I'm not going to be able to read them all. But of course, keep these phones and Wi-Fi gadgets away from us. Turn them off when you don't need them. Download games to children's iPads. And just really be thoughtful about radiation and Wi-Fi. It's really something that's ramping up, and we really have to watch for it. And of course, to add to this, don't drive or walk while texting, because actually a couple seconds of distraction can really be deadly. I want you to avoid silly gadgets that are coming down the pike. I mean, some of these are absolutely absurd. There's actually diaper monitors, okay, to see when your baby pooped. I think we all know how to tell when your baby pooped, okay? Even tampons that actually have Wi-Fi in them. I mean, this is real stuff. I kid you not, okay? And so to wrap up here, I want to give a bunch of really quick, easy information. Don't buy this stuff in the first place when it comes to chemicals, okay? Don't bring it into your home, vet it, and don't buy it. Survey your body and home, eat clean food and water as best we can, and the water is the key issue. Exercise, sauna, and sweating helps release many of these lipophilic chemicals that are in fat cells and release them, okay? Good quality and quantity of sleep. We have a fluid around our brain that we now know through many great articles that cleans the chemicals around our brain. It's like a lymphatic system, and we now have evidence of it. It's wonderful, wonderful information. So get great sleep. Dust regularly. That's where a lot of the chemicals are in our home. Use vetted resources. Read labels, become educated. EWG.org/skindeep is a wonderful, I work with them, they're a wonderful group, environmental working group, and this is a wonderful way to check your products. Here's my top 10 list. I hope you take pictures because I'm not going to be able to run through these. But again, really be thoughtful about what you do every day and how it touches your body and your family's body, okay? And take-home messages. Chemicals and radiation are ubiquitous. This stuff ain't going away, okay? So we have to learn to manage it, okay? There's minimal oversight. That's something most people don't realize. Chemicals get absorbed all throughout our body. I also talk about vaginal mucosa, because we have personal and feminine care products that people aren't thinking about the tampons they use. Teenagers, there's rayon and pesticides and a bunch of stuff. So we want to think about all the areas of exposure, think about the critical periods of human vulnerability and development, create body awareness, And again, back to the resources, I want you to educate others. You're here for a reason. This is a great experience. So definitely educate others. Go forward without fear. This is one of my favorite quotes, actually. And finally, just to mention, I hate to say it's a plug, but I don't really get paid. It's in a textbook. But Oxford University Press we put 26 of the top environmental toxicologists and biologists. Great information in this. Can I put one more slide?
Go ahead, yeah.
Okay, and then for everyone who doesn't want to read a textbook, I don't blame you. I post Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I don't make any money. I don't endorse anything, any brands. This is my environmental health platform. Please share with people, your teenagers, anyone you can think of, because it's really for the everyday person, teenagers, kids. So that's my gift to the world.
Thank you, really.
Sorry.
Now you got it all in, sorry.
I hope so.
This is so important, and I'm so glad that you shared it with all of us, really.
Oh, good.
Now you made like you were having a cigarette. Oh my God, well that's at least a healthy one.
That's a no-no.
An air cigarette.
That's right.
Thank you. It's so informative, it's so fabulous, and I really appreciate it. Hi, it's me, your host, Fran Drescher. Thank you so much for watching. Wasn't that great? Now you have some tools to stay healthy and prevent disease, as well as fresh options to consider if, God forbid, you are sick. cancerSchmancer's mission is to educate you and your loved ones on how to transform from patient into medical consumer. If you enjoyed this, if you learned something, if you want to know more, then please make sure you watch Fran Drescher's Health and Wellness Masterclass 2018, live streaming free on October 23rd at cancerSchmancer.org. Please help us get this life-changing information out to as many people as possible so together we can all move into a healthier world. Share this with your friends and family. It's 100% free, so there's no downside. Remember, each one teach one. Please visit cancerSchmancer.org to learn about our life-saving programs like Fran Vans, offering low-income women free mammograms, and Be the Change program, targeting teens and tweens on staying healthy by checking labels, choosing safer products, and becoming the change the 21st century desperately needs. So happy that we had this time together, and so grateful for your helping to spread the word so we can empower more people like yourself to crack the code on sickness. I love you. My prayers are for you to be well and have love and peace in your hearts.